I'm gonna record a video on direction in the lower time frames, so you know what I'm looking for when I would change direction, when I'd stick to my direction, when I think direction is flipping, all of the above really. This is the exact same point from the last video. I've not gone any further in time. I didn't turn my PC off properly last night, so everything's still here. It's at the exact same minute and everything. So I think we can just jump into it and look to where I think direction is going in this moment, what I'd need to look for the direction to change and stuff like that. Okay, so for going off of what I was saying about yesterday, talking about how I think this whole thing was just cycling up to the order block in at the higher range here, and I think this level, if I'm not mistaken, was that daily order block open, which would have been the target ever since we closed the lows on the, sorry, not there, ever since we closed the lows all the way down here. For that daily range, if we go on that, we'll be able to see that. Don't really want to spoil where price goes. So yeah, once we closed here, it was always going to come back up to this fair value gap. Because this fair value gap is so big, it's going to be the order block anyway. So that was always the target. Going up would have been this higher range. It's not going to hold off a random something in here, I don't know, like inversion, midpoint of a wick, just anything like that. It's going to return to the higher points and satisfy the gaps here, so price action can then flip, close this low, continue down into this range, back down to this range, and essentially just do the same thing until something bigger is in play. So yeah, we'll go back to the minute here. We've identified that is at daily level. So what we can do is we'll quickly just put this back. But we know where this goes now. But what I'd be looking at in this moment is, okay, we hit that target. If that is the target, we want to start seeing lows close. The first low to actually see here, if you're on the minute, isn't until down here. On the 15-second, there'll be a low here. There'll be a low here. Looks like there's also even a low there, because we can't see that. The only thing we can say that we can wait for are these lows being closed. But if you're truly convinced on the direction, I know, yes, we've been going up the whole time to this target, and I know I also said you want to see a lot more before direction flips. What I mean by that is, to go back to what I was saying about, you see one high close in a downwards movement, don't expect it to continue up. Vice versa on the other side, you close one low, don't expect it to go down if it's been moving up all day. But because this was my target, and this is where I know it's going to return to, this is where I'd start to look for things really pretty soon. So you get that, you get the pullback straight away, you go in this order block. For me, that would be fine to just target here, because the thing is, take it back to the other thing I'm saying about getting in, getting it down to those lows, closing those lows, and then getting the re-entry again, the same position, to try and take it further down again. So yeah, I would have definitely tried this. I would have definitely tried that, just down to those lows, because in my opinion the direction's flipped. And the first target here on the minute time frame would be these equal lows. It's the wrong button. These equal. So now we will look at this range as any pullback back up is on a lower time frame. The 15-second lows here, it's most likely going to be returned to those order blocks, or that order block on the 15-second, before it can continue down. So you can't break even until after that's happened, because if you break even before that, at that point it is just fear for a start, and also you are just going to be only going into break-even trades and losing trades, because you're not allowing the move to essentially breathe before it can continue. Because the thing is, if this was the minute time frame as well, and for example you close a low in the same candle, try and get in, and then the next candle break even, you're not giving it any room to move back up at all before it dumps down. So with these type of, or just with any trade really, you do need to understand how long is enough for a trade to breathe and how much is too long. So in my opinion, once we get a movement up and then we get back down to this range or break below this candle, that's where I'd break even. You've given it the room to move up. There's now no reason why it should return to this range, and now it should essentially just go down to this target. So we'll see if that does happen. Like I said, personally, if I'm very convinced on direction getting flipped from this moment forth, I would be in this now with my stop loss. My stop loss would personally be here. Always have it here at the start until you get better. You can look at, moving your stop losses a bit more aggressively. But I'd understand if this comes up and then continues down. That's my own bad. I understood that can happen, but for me, if target's there, that's 1.15, whereas it's 2.37 if I have my stop loss there. So we'll move these candles forward now. We gave it room for the move up. It never moved up. So yeah, I'll be break even after this, obviously. Now we have to take into account this little interior range here. We've closed the low. You can come up, do that, and go back to what I was saying in the last video. Is the one thing before the low that can hold price to try and move it back up is going to be these order blocks. But like I said, if our direction is down, the opposing order block on the other side is just going to be projecting us back up to the bearish order block to then bring price down. So this is what I'd be anticipating right here. So either you have two options here. You take profit at the point where direction has a chance of flipping, which would then just bring us up to here, back down, meaning you lock up profits and then you go for a re-entry here, and then get the second trade, or you just play it out. You have your stop loss at break even and you try and get it down to that target. But considering that's so close, if you took the option of getting out here, getting a re-entry, even if you don't get filled, you're not missing out on too much by getting out of that first trade here opposed to here, because that is only an extra $5.5, which isn't the end of the world. So yeah, those are the two plays you can do in this range: is go for the re-entry, or just play it at break even, try and get the extra $5.5 there. And it does hit in the next candle anyway. So yeah, that would have been the first trade done. Just taking profit at those lows, as you should be at the start, just taking profit. So now what do I think now? I think, okay, I'm seeing this, we swept these lows out. My direction is down. This sweep, in my opinion, is only going to project us up to this higher range to then continue us down. I'm not seeing this as a sweep to break us above here, because my direction is down. When you see a sweep, don't straight away just go, oh, we've swept 1 minute lows. The whole move and the whole direction is now changed to the point where, oh, we're going to break above this now, we're going to hold here and we're going to go up. Just because we swept these and moved back up doesn't mean the whole direction has changed. Only look at sweeps as something to aid in the direction. They are powerful when you know to use them, and they obviously do work, but you need to know where that's going and if that sweep is going to break that range, or it's only getting used as fuel to essentially go to where price failed to go beforehand, fill in those gaps and then continue down. So here I'm looking at this as a sweep to continue up to this higher range, or even this range here, but because it's a sweep, I'm going to assume this range here is going to get disregarded, and it will also go back up to the higher range and fill in the higher gaps, the higher order block, which is obviously the more in control order block in the range out of these two, and then I think it will continue down from there. So we'll see if this does happen. Okay, so that sweep, one candle later, ends up not being a sweep anyway. So if that's the fact, we can disregard that first thing anyway, about it coming up and the sweep actually happening. So what we can start looking at is, right, there's a bullish order book here. Go back to the same thing of, we're only seeing is just to fuel price back up to the opposite order block to continue that price down, which it does do. Goes straight to this order block, continues that price movement down, and the next thing we'll be looking for is this low to go. Once this low goes, we could return back up to this range here, which will then continue price down. So what we can do is we can look at that as the next point where we think price is going to return to continue us down. So because there's no fair value up, the highest fair value up here, right, is this one. The reason I'd also be looking at this as well is because this is the one that this range failed to break above, to try and break this high to go up. So what we can do now is, the fact that we broke the low for this range, this was the part it failed to break above. I'll be looking to see if price can hold that and go down off of it, or is it going to have to actually go deeper to maybe this inversion fair value gap is more so what you should actually be looking at here. That's my bad. This inversion fair value gap here. So I think the same thing, just this inversion fair value gap. Are we going to return to it and hold it? This is what I think will hold, and it might not get to this order block, judging from what I said about, okay, it failed here. Now we've broke this, it's probably just going to return, attempt to break, go down. Why I think it's going to go down is because my direction is down. So don't be looking at this range as the one to keep us down. You still can, but you want to see it hold before you get into it. Only reason I say that is because this low and this low is near enough the same low, right? But if this low got closed at the same point as this low, we still need to return to this range here. So entering in this range, you're basically going to be getting into a higher chance of a losing trade, which can just project us back up to here before going down, meaning you're right on direction, but your execution was too early. So when you get two ranges, a bigger range, older range, and a newer range, and the lows are pretty close to each other, and you break both those lows, see if it's going to be holding off of this before you assume that that's the one it's holding off of, because it can just be going to this higher one. So we'll see if that is the case. So for me to get in off of that, I'd want to see it hold, close some sort of new bearish order block for this range, and then see if you can try and get that off of it down to here, down to the low or whatever. So it has held. I would have tried, like I said, I would have tried something like that, down to either here or here. Be it goes down to here or it continues back up to this range is entirely up to the price action. But if we notice here, right, if this does remain true and we still need to come back up to this range, considering this low is more in control than this one, look at cycling above here, holding off of this is a temporary switch in direction to just get us back up to here. So after seeing this hold, this fair value up here, see this is, we're gaining this now, we've already closed here, we still need to come back up to here. See this as price is currently changing direction to get us up to this point that we need to get to before we continue down. So we'll see if that is the case. Still not broken this one, but something to key you into it breaking is the fact that we're holding off of the bullish order block before that high has been closed there, which is kind of a sign that high or low, depending on the direction, is going to be closed. It's like the typical gaining the midpoint of an order block, anticipating it gaining the order block, getting in at the midpoint to say, okay, we're going to be gaining that. It's kind of the same thing here. You're getting in the bullish order block, anticipating the high is going to be gone because we closed this one, because we held off of this. And this is kind of, it's kind of the same thing here as this range. The reason why I got in for this, I'm anticipating these lows to be gone, and judging from we hit the level, I'm getting into it anticipating the low's going to go. So I'm getting the bearish order block before we've kind of gained the range to take us down to break it and try and get a re-entry off of it again. Because you could do the same thing again here as well, right? You could get here, you could target here, which can project us back down to here, and get a next trade up to try and get to this range. So that range has been broke now. So if that range has been broke, it's going to try and push us down to this order block, push the price up. This is where we're going to see if it does hold off of here now, as we've now tested that. So if we do think this was the target, and this move up was just to get us to here, we can say now that upwards movement is now going to be switched into downwards movement, because we've satisfied the move up. We close those highs, we close the high, we close the high, we close this high, just to get us up to here. So now we're looking at this order block as something to not hold, but to just hold momentarily to push us up to the order block, which will then proceed to close lows, hold order blocks, close low, hold order blocks, until we break this and continue further down. So it's holding that range. Gained the order block here. Our first target, like I said, is going to be that order block. Does so. And like I said, I'm looking at this as we haven't gained this yet. We haven't closed this leg. But because I'm so convinced on this being the target, because there's no reason for it to go higher, I would be okay with trying to short here to break this range now, because now narrowing over direction isn't going up because of everything I've identified. I don't know, I just think that's going to happen. You never know what's going to happen, but I'm kind of looking at this as I could have got this because I knew it was going to come down to here, so we could have got a short down to that. Once that holds, we can then get the exact same trade down again. But something I would wait for in this range itself is, because we've not closed a low on the bottom hand, if I want to see that direction actually flip, getting a sweep of this and using the sweep as something to break this range is something I'll be looking for here. That does sweep that range. You could go for a short already off of that sweep after we've gained this new order block. Stop loss at the highest point, trying to break that down to easiest target here. We think it's going to go a lot lower. That's not the point, it's just taking it to easiest target. Gaining that there, so you would be in that. So like I said, we're not looking at this to hold. And notice the difference here as well is we now failed the higher, we swept it. Why is this going to hold? If direction's flipped, why is that going to hold? And it doesn't. So you either took profit there, or you were trailing, you're either still in or something, stop loss here now, or you're trying to go for the bigger move down. Entirely up to you. But I think that was a wiser stop loss, just because, like I said, it's going to do the same close, come up, hold, go down type thing, as it does near enough all the time. Closes, comes up, holds off of it. Just a typical A to B. So now looks like we have some sort of equal highs here. We still think direction is down, so maybe we can look at these as something to sweep before we continue down now. This is next low to close here. That low closes, but look what's happened on the other side. Swap these lows here. We're attempting to hold off of the lowest points here of this whole entire range, so this could just be fueling the price up to essentially either sweep here, try and make a run up, have a double sweep before it continues down. So after seeing a sweep like that, yeah, we closed that, but I'm kind of going back to here. I'd be disregarding this range here as something to look at for an entry, just because of what's happening in the bigger picture, which turns out to be correct anyway. Now what can you do? You can look for an entry. You can look for an entry now. Order block is here, so you can either do once you get below, go for it there, or you can, for a bit more confirmation, you can wait for the lows to go. It's going to come back down to the order block. If this is holding, we could be anticipating this breaking above. If that fails to break above, and then our direction is true, and we will be going down from there. Fails to break up, now closes this low. This has already had its attempt to hold, it failed the higher. So if that's going to be true, but directions is changed, that's something you'd want to look for, is this failing, then breaking down. Next step here is to take the low. After that, next step would be to continue up, then to go down. The biggest point in this whole range where it could hold would be the lowest point, being the order block. So unless we hold here, my game plan would be holding here to just project us back up to this range to then take us down. Closes that low, hasn't retested that higher point of the range yet. Closes another low. Trying to hold off of that order block. We haven't closed the important low here, so that's what we'd be waiting for. Sweeps it instead. I'm assuming this is sweep because of the look at the candle. What could that mean? This sweep could be the turning point that takes us up to that before it goes down, or just takes us up to any point in this range. Because if you zoom all the way out here, it still hasn't returned to the highest point here, which is where it could return to before we take that big push down, because after return to here, there's now no gaps to get filled in. So this sweep could be used to break the highs into this range, attempt to break above it up to here, which then can continue that movement down. So right now I could look at this as directions trying to flip. This range here isn't going to hold. If anything, it will try and hold here, meaning getting a long momentarily. Your win to loss, your R would be pretty big here if he was able to even just get the low here up to here, essentially 2.17 R. I'll start looking for longs to take us up to this range. Notice it failed that, meaning that's probably is the sweep. Here gets put in a ATT at 11, which sweeps this range. I'm seeing this as an ATT. I'm seeing this as not a sweep, so it's just to change the direction down, continue us back up, which kind of happens in the same candle. But something that we could also get as well is the double sweep before it moves up. So what I'd want to see to get into this trade is either this low, this high being closed, or the double sweep. Sideways for a bit here until we start breaking the direction. Now you need to start looking, piece together what's going on. We had the sweep, we created a higher low here, from here we created another higher low here. If this goes, which it has done here, and breaks, the price action is getting squeezed until it's going to push in a direction. But because this side is the one that's breaking further up instead of further down, it's most likely going to now break this high, hold off of something which can then project us above here into this range. Broke that. Here's a really good sign. Here's a really good sign, is sucking here, trying to hold that aggressively. But like I said in the last video, if it's going to hold aggressively, it needs to do it in the first I would say 2 to 4 candles. If it's not, you will see it return back down to this range. So that could be a really good sign. You'll find out in a candle or two. Okay, there you go. Down to that order block. This is the order block for that high. Or you can just look at it as the whole order block being here. This is where I'd start looking for longs now after that holding. Sorry, I didn't mean to get rid of that. I wanted to get rid of this, get rid of this. This can go. Sorry, I just had to pause that recording for a couple of minutes there. But I can't remember what I was saying, but the thing I'd be looking for to break in on the top here is obviously going to be this big wick. This is where you can start getting those longs though. Like I said, we're closing here. You know, we had the sweep in the bottom here. We're squeezing price up. We're creating higher lows here and higher highs. So direction is clearly trying to go up from here. Where do I think? Up to this range. So the safest trade to go for would just be the test of this now. Here's another good sign. Close another higher. Next side to go here is this, but because that failed and it swept, it can just be projecting us back down to collect some more entries to then continue that price up. If it's going to go down instead, we'd see this go and then this go. Like I said, I want to see at least 2 lows or 2 highs go before I think the direction's flipped. Doesn't hold off of it, sweeps it instead, collects more entries. If we're sweeping here, we're going to be breaking these highs. We already closed the midpoint of this wick, so that was a good sign. The price is going to be trying to go up above this. Pushes above those highs now. And just go straight up. So yeah, like I said, I think we're going to go up to here. I'm just going to forward this, or this video is going to be really long. But I assume it's going to struggle to get above here first. Could come back down to here. If it doesn't, and it does push up above here, and then it will most definitely come up to here. Because not pushing down to the further down you go, the longer it will take to do something. But let's say we continue up and we only go to like here and hold that, it's gonna continue that aggressive that aggressive move up. And look what's happening again. We're squeezing from here, 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 here. We've broke that now. That's the first sign of what side's going to break up. What side's going to break, sorry. There's another one been put in again. Closed the actual high here. Entry off of the order block now. I think that's a very solid. That would be a very solid trade to go for. We closed the inversion fair value gap that was holding price up in this instance. We closed the high here. We're clearly cycling up. We're creating the higher lows here, higher highs. We break the high that first started the movement down to attempt to go lower, which failed. Comes back to hold the order block, which I think will then continue us up. It does do. Just puts in a new low. New high gets broken again. So it's continuing that squeeze up until we probably get to here. Does it get to there? It does. So nice, and that's when we start to get the move down. What does it return to? Looks like it's the order block. No, it just shallowly missed the order block. But if we kind of look here, this wick was the first Fair Valley gap that held price here. It's returned to that point, meaning it just returned to the highest point of the range, and now it's going to continue dumping down. And you can tell that that's going to be true just from the aggressiveness of that movement down. So if we get rid of all this stuff, the aggressiveness of this move going down. What I mean by that is look, it did the thing I was talking to you about. If it closes lows, holds it in an aggressive way, it's going to continue down. It's going to be fast as well when it's an aggressive move. So let's get rid of all this stuff here. So yeah, now what I think is we will break this high range here all the way down. What created this move up was here. So if the price action got satisfied, and we no longer need to go higher, we're going to now break the thing that pushed that price up. Come up and fight. It did actually test that order block, which is nice. And then you just got the sweep, and then the aggressive thing again. Hold up, and then look at the aggressive move down. Squeezing again. But if we know something here, creating high highs, high lows, high lows, high lows. I mean, it's trying to push up. Where I think it's going to push up to is, because I still think target's here, I think it will just push up. This is kind of a fake break it up. It will most likely sweep something, then try and continue that movement down. Wonder if it does get to its target. It does. Okay. So yeah, that's how I would have went about that whole session now. I know we went all the way up till 9, but yeah, I think that was a pretty solid video for you to look at.